Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, and perhaps even good evening. It is wonderful to see you, and I'm joining you here with a cup of coffee. This is great. Mr. Brian is here. Mr. Steve is here. And anyone else who's out there watching, welcome. This is really nice. In fact, I'm feeling kind of generous today. I'd like to, since we're all having coffees together, maybe I want to all buy you a coffee because, that's just part of the Christmas cheer. Let's get that going. Let me go get some music on here, and then we can go and listen to music, play with 3D toys, and, hopefully just have coffee together. Maybe do we do dreamy beats, happy jazz, LGR jazz, or quiet piano things? Maybe quiet piano things. Haven't listened to that for a while. There we go. That's cool. Well, let's start with Mr. Brian here. First of all, Mr. Brian, 0 Kelvin, there we go, on Ko-fi. I'll go buy you coffee. As we should from time to time. Donate $3. There we go. Buy a coffee for Brian. Maybe with PayPal. If that isn't going to bring up awkward details, hopefully not. Is it? Oh, get a code. I can't do that. Code is kind of in the, let me get a code. It's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna get a code, but I need to get my phone for that. Hang on, I'll be back. Two-factor authentication. Hey, yeah, you're welcome. No worries. All good. Let me just go hack this in. Because, then it's like basically meeting us all at the coffee shop and somebody gets the coffees in. That's nice. Let's put that. Does this work? And then we do that. And then boom. That should do the trick. So we hope. Does it? Does it do that? And we go do that and that. Does that. Come on. Haha. Okay, groovy. I bought 0 Kelvin a coffee. This is nice. Let's go buy another coffee for Mr. Steve. If I remember correctly, that is, of course, ko-fi.com/backdoor3D. There. And I think this character that you've made, Brian, is just so cool. We're going to have a look at it in a minute. It's just so groovy. Let's go donate a cup of coffee. Also with PayPal, we just go do this. Hopefully no code anymore. And buy now. Perfect. Groovy. Cool. And I think, I don't know if Rod is here already or not, but maybe I'll go buy Rod a coffee as well. Because, that's just part of the service. No worries. I'll go sort out coffees anyway. So that was it Rod S? There we go. Rod S0078. That's the spirit. He's going to be super happy about this. Go donate to Mr. Rod. All right. 1 coffee for Rod. You're welcome, Steve. No problem. There. PayPaling that away. And then the only other person that I know that might drop by in a minute would be Mr. Chris. So I think I'm just envisioning Mr. Chris showing up, and we're basically buying him a coffee now so that when he does arrive, it's still being kept warm. Chris L. Cox also gets a coffee. There we go. And here we go. Tip. Oh, that's interesting. Tip $3. Perfect. Let's do that. It's like the crim between cheers, Steve, I think that character looks so cool. And I remember not actually watching the whole video when Brian first posted it, because I'm just not doing much with, there we go, bought Mr. Chris a coffee, because I'm not doing much with iClone. But I've recently started taking a look at it, and it was just so nice watching Brian do this. Do I have Discord on here? I don't think I have. So that means I can't really look at this. No, Discord isn't installed on here. But yeah, wonderful picture of you. And yeah, so it's kind of part of a process. Maybe we'll start with that, because that's something that I've been looking into earlier today and I just couldn't make it work. So Brian sent me over. Brian and I'll just you know, tell you all, it's something we're thinking about, maybe selling some of the characters that we make on the DAZ store, perhaps, if we can make it work. Currently we're kind of doing experiments of how easy or how difficult that is, and one thing that we're running into is an issue in regards to transferring textures over. That, you know, we need to do them up anyway when they go. Excellent, fantastic, Brian. We need to do them. I was just saying that Brian and I were looking currently into perhaps transferring some character creator creations and turning them into DAZ characters, potentially for sale. We're kind of just looking into this, seeing if we can make this work. So one of the things that we're currently not so much stuck on are transferring the textures, and of course that is possible with the wonderful Blender. And I'm gonna go and try something here. These are things I've tried out earlier, but this is a set of files that Brian showed me. That is the maps that Character Creator spits out when you make when you export an image. And because I'm gonna go and transfer those, I will have a quick look at the body map here and open that in Photoshop and just get rid of anything that Twitch might find terrible. So, you know, you know, yes, absolutely, it is a little bit scary, especially when the likeness is just so good, you know, like in your case, or in Brian's case. Like, did you see Brian's video that he made in which he was, I think, introducing lip sync? And so there's this figure of Brian, and Brian is talking, and I thought, oh my, this is amazing, very cool. So I'm just going to go get rid of the nipples here, so that nothing untoward can be said about whatever it is that we're doing here. And I'll use the patch tool for that, I think. Let's do this and go ka-ting, there. Perfect. Photoshop's taking care right of that. Maybe I'll do this. I'll do this a little bit better. There we go. Perfect. It's almost like you can't tell anything's happened. Then well, that was perfect. That was terrible. Let me go and do this, and then that. Boom. Perfect. Great. That sorted that out. Now we have the gentle-less version that we can work with, and I'm going to go and spit this out again. This was a JPEG, so I'll go and turn this back into a JPEG and put it back into that folder, and then I'll show you the process of how to set these maps up, or most of the body maps in Blender, at least the way I've done it. And then we can try our hand at turning that into one combined map, so that we can then have a crack at transferring that over in what's it called, in the Russian 3D scanner. So this is in here, base female, this and that, and then there was the body map here. There we go. And I will just call mine V2, just so that we know where it is and where to find it, and then we don't actually need it anymore. There. All right. Character Creator 3 is indeed awesome. Yeah, I don't actually have it, but Brian has it, and he's obviously having lots of fun with it. I'm using Blender 3.0, and I'll go and bring in the base figure that only comes in with the diffuse textures. But of course, we want to bring in, we want to convert all these maps to, we want to not just convert the diffuse, we also want to convert the roughness and the normal map. So let me go let's just set this up in here and there, OBJ comes in. We don't want to split this, and we want to keep it as one polygroup, or we want to keep the polygroups if available. I'm going to bring it to the regular size here, just sizing that down to 1/100th of what it is. And then if we go and look at the kind of preview view in a second, that shouldn't be happening, but it's cool. We're hopefully getting away with it. I'm going to reset up these maps so that that both the other maps are being recognized. If I go to my shadings tab, I have her. I'll just go turn her around, and this here just hooks up the diffuse, but we want all the maps here. So here's how we do that, or here's how I do that. And then we can, once we bake, we can go and just bake all of these things. Baking is the part that I have a problem with, so maybe, you know, Brian, chip in, maybe you can help me with this. So here on tongue, I'm gonna just use the body and the arms and the legs. So I'm not gonna worry about the tongue and the stuff. So I'm gonna start with the skin head here. And I have Node Wrangler enabled. That's kind of the part of the secret sauce, which allows me to just hover or select the principal BSDF shader, Control-Shift-T, and then this dialog pops up that asks me, where are your maps, where are the PBR maps that you want to add on here. And I'll go into my textures directory here, namely this one. And because there's now so many maps in here, because all I need is the one for the head, I'll just go look for head. And I don't even need all of these, even though it does try, if you just select all of these maps, it will try and use anything that's available, but it also makes mistakes. So all we need is the diffuse here, and then I'll control click the normal, and then I'll control click the roughness. I suppose it would also perhaps understand things like specular and AO maps, but I'm gonna just dispense with that. I'm gonna just use these 3 maps and go plonk. And then this happens. This all is being set up for us. This is a trick I've learned from Christina. I hope she's still around somewhere. Just, you know, not quite with us in the chat anymore, but I think she's still around. So at least that's what I believe. So that's the head sorted with the roughness and the other maps, and it looks quite good. Even if we zoom in, we do see some normal detail if we look really close. So it's all good this way, and that means we can go and hopefully transfer all the maps. Let's go through the rest of the body here. Just body, same thing. So select BSDF, Control-Shift-T, and then we're in the same directory. We're going to go look for body, and there's body diffuse V2. That's kind of the stream safe one. Then we have the normal, and we have the roughness, and go kaboom. Internally, right, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yes, my first attempt, the screenshot I've sent you yesterday, was in fact so mangled because it used not the actual normal map, it used some other normal map that was then not sized the correct way. So that was kind of the problem. Arm, diffuse, normal, roughness. Whoops, diffuse as well. I love this way that Node Wrangler just goes and sorts this out. I'm chuffed about this. You decent? Oh no, you're still not decent. Why not? That's interesting. I wonder why. That's just clearly not the map I put in there, but hey, it's fine. Okay, we'll keep going. Hope we get away with it. This is now the skin. Maybe it's the skin. No, skin, sorry, it's legs now. Leg here. Leg, diffuse, normal, and roughness. Come on, diffuse as well. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to dispense with the teeth and the eye, maybe the eyelashes. Eyelashes are kind of cool because they have transparency. Lashes, see how that's being handled. So it's diffuse, normal, opacity, and roughness. See how that goes. It could be that under the body, it could be that the old map is still in there. Let me go try the body again. I'll go and get rid of all these maps. X, boom. And this is also Gonski. Now you don't have any maps here. Perfect. That's kind of what we want. It's kind of what we expect. Let's see if I can do that again. Body, because ours was diffuse V2. That's definitely the one that I've created. And then I have the normal, and then I have the roughness, and those, that should be that. Come on, let's see what we can do. And there, stream safe character creator basic female here. Perfect. Alrighty. So she now, even if we go and try to do a render with her, she looks okay now. She looks fairly good. But of course, the trouble with her is that all her maps are kind of distributed around multiple UV islands here. Let's see if we can just quickly set up a camera. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular, but just so that we see most of it hopefully looking handsome. Maybe this is enough here. And then also perhaps we'll go and say 1200 by 1200. There, let's just hope this comes out okay. I don't think the light's going to be fantastic yet, but let's see what comes out. Micro normal, right, that's probably what it is, yes. Yeah, that looks a little bit awkward. We're also kind of in EV here, so we don't want to do that. We want to be in cycles, I guess. And we probably also want to be in GPU. And there we go. So that doesn't look great, but we'll make do with the basic light here. So GZ comes down a bit, and then we have G Shift Z, and we'll go put that over here, and then we'll go and make that a bit bigger, maybe like 5 meters. And what does that look like? That looks not terrible. We'll have one more from the other side, and then we're kind of done with the basic lighting. So Shift D, G, just put that kind of over here. It doesn't really matter. Maybe 5 meters is a bit much. Maybe make it 2 meters. Yeah, 5, maybe 5 is fine. 5 is fine. And then we have a very flat light. Is this actually from here? Yeah, that's from here. So make that a little bit less bright. So flat lighting, and it looks okay. It looks okay. Let's go and render this. Whoops. That was a tool that I didn't mean to click. There. I just meant to use F12 as a shortcut here. Oh, it's ready already because I've not used the correct one here. Bad. Blender, render image. It was F12, wasn't it? There we go. Come on. Updating shaders. Perfect. Vic Wobberup, thank you so much for following. That's nice. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. She's looking handsome all over, and I feel that's awesome. I'm going to go and save my file here, my blend file, and then we'll see if we can go and turn that into a combined texture map, and then see if we can transfer the textures from one UV space into the other. This is the part that I'm kind of struggling with here. So I'll call this one test 3 on stream so that we remember what is what here. And I'll go out of the real-time render mode here, and I'll just go and go back into running around mode here. Alrighty. So character selected, then we go into UV editing. And here is all that, well, I wasn't going to say mess, but actually that was what I was going to say. These are all the UV islands that come with the character. And of course, we want all of this on one UV map so that we can use Wrap 3D to transfer this. So the best thing to do that then is go and create myself a new UV map down here. So this is the current one, and I'll just hit the plus icon, and I'll maybe call that one combined UVs, just so that we're all on the same page here. Or maybe just combined is probably enough here. With 1D perhaps even there. And if I go and click on either one of these, this is the active UV set. So I think currently we're looking at this, but this one is active, and that, to merge all of these guys together, I can go and just select all of them and then use UV. Technically, all we need to do is pack islands, and that'll put them all onto one space. But it doesn't do a great job, I don't think. Oh, you do? I'm not using SimpleBake actually, Brian. I thought, this is overhead. I'm not going to go into SimpleBake. I think that's I'm just not going to do that for now. There has to be a way to do that with the regular Blender baking thing as well. I thought, do we have to use SimpleBake? Just does it have to be that name if we use SimpleBake? I thought it was possible without it as well. Let's try both options. I've saved the file. Let me try this way. I thought it was going to work without SimpleBake as well. Let me go average island size so that we get a better representation of these things here. Then we'll go and say the pack islands again. And then they look a little more handsome. I bought another add-on today that packs this a little bit better. You can also go, I think, and just grab, this is the head here. I'll go and make the head a little bit bigger, and then select everything and just go try pack again, and then the head has a bit more space, so that's probably a little bit better. Okay, cool. Well, you can combine the textures just like this. You see, this is what I was thinking. Maybe we don't need SimpleBake, but then I didn't have any luck doing it this way. So here's how I figured out how to do it. It's just not coming out properly. Now that we have this, we go and create a new image up here. So this is basically our new texture that we're making, and I'll call this one base combined, just so that we know what it is. And I'll make it 8K, so 8192 by 8192. And I think we don't want alpha, we just want that. So this is the new image that we're making that's now going to replace whatever was there beforehand. So that's now currently black, and you know, it's basically there's nothing on there. So now I don't really know the next step though, because that's kind of weird. Apparently under the render settings, at the very bottom here, there's this bake option, and that's one that lets us do this without SimpleBake, which is kind of cool. So I'm a big fan of trying it without the add-ons. So lighting, direct or indirect, one of these needs to be switched off, but I can't remember which one. And then there's the contributions, so diffuse, glossy, transmission, and emit. I think that we want them to be contributing to the bake light. Selected to active. I don't know what that is. Maybe we don't need that. Maybe we need it. We do need that. I don't know. Output, the target is image textures indeed. And I think that's pretty much everything. Then we just click the bake button and it goes and does something, but it doesn't really do a very good job, which is kind of weird. So let me try this out. If I click bake, then at the bottom here, no valid selected objects. That's not good, is it? I thought this was the selected object, isn't it? Bake type, oh, of course, bake type combined, right, gotcha. So bake type combined needs to be diffuse. Righty, I'm thinking. Now we go bake, maybe? No valid selected objects. That is seriously bizarre, because that's not what happened to me earlier. So what happened to me was that the baking process actually did happen, but there was nothing that came out. So the maps were, after it has processed stuff, the maps were just black. So I don't know what happened there. Which is why I'm kind of stuck at this whole point there. So if we can't make it work this way, then I'm happy to have a go with SimpleBake. Let's see if we can give this one more go. Select to active. Maybe we'll just go and delete that and just go click bake again. Does this work? Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So this now says circular dependency for image 3D tier line or whatnot. But at the bottom here, we do certainly see a progress bar. So it is doing something. That's kind of neat. So let's hope it does its thing. And we'll just have coffee while we wait for the diffuse map to come out. Because I like setting it up this way. If this were to work, then we have a combined diffuse, and in the next baking process, the normal and then the roughness, and that would be the texture sorted, I'm thinking. But I will try SimpleBake in a minute. That's neat. I did try the UV Packmaster as well. That is also cool, and I think for smaller UV islands it does a really spectacular job at packing as much as it can into the UV space. But I think because our islands are fairly large, it doesn't seem to make a big difference. I should have perhaps for demo purposes just used the 2K map or 4K map. I should have perhaps also at the top here Oh, I said GPU and cycles. Okay, these affect the baking process, I believe. So one of those things. Hey, Mr. Rod! You're welcome, buddy. Have a coffee. I thought, you know, this is quite nice. We've been meeting here so many times, so I went ahead and bought all of us a coffee. Brian, Steve, Chris, and you, because I thought, you know, this is nice. It's like meeting in a coffee shop and having coffee, talking about 3D things. So there we go. Mine actually needs a top up already, so good that we have all the coffee in the world. Good to see you, Rod. What's happening? What's on your agenda today? I'm trying to do something today it's kind of just an aside. We're trying to work this out via a couple of different ways. Transferring UV maps that are kind of distributed across multiple islands and packing them all onto one island inside Blender. Kind of an experiment. Let's see if it works. And how it works and how well it works. I just realized I shouldn't have probably used an 8K map because that takes a while. But hey, good to catch up. Oh, you're reorganizing the digital stuff. That's good. That is nice, Rod. And you cleaned the shop. Look at that. That is, congrats. That is, you know, that's good. I don't do enough of that. Digital housekeeping, yes, but cleaning the shop, not really. Jeremy comes with the drinks trolley. Wonderful. Thank you, Jeremy. That's really nice. How are you doing today? Oh, and he has donuts on the trolley as well. This is nice. Wow. Oh, come on, 17%. So I'm kind of encouraged because earlier this process was faster. So I wonder if this is actually the correct way of doing it and just baking textures just takes a little bit of time. That could be. I should have used a smaller map. I totally agree. Rod, maybe I'll just go, I'll see if I can somehow drop that into the chat here. Yes, let me see if I can do that. Brian made this outstanding transfer of the Steve character from Character Creator and brought him into DAZ Studio. Let me see if I can pull it up on the screen. Discord isn't installed on this computer, so I have to work some magic, some other ways. Us being all techie at heart, we can make it work. We can make it work. The Steve, it's called. If I go and do that, and then I go and put it into the Discord chat, I think that will work. And while this is working its magic, I think I will pick it up and then show you. That's him! This is the Steve! And he's joining us as well, which is just so cool. This is Brian's work. Absolutely outstanding stuff. There's a video on his channel in which he shows how he's made this character from scratch in Character Creator. And this is just so cool. So it's rigged now for the Genesis 8 male figure and posed and, you know, including the hair and even the beard. So that's just... and good clothing as well. And it's the Steve. Yes, absolutely. It's just... that's awesome. That's awesome work. I'm so chuffed about this. Good character. And it's also the way you've worked on it, that you started with this picture that Steve sent over, and then you kind of worked your way onto it, and that automation that Character Creator has built in that kind of had you there 75 or 50%, and then you just kept hammering and chiseling, and then added the hair as well. I didn't know Character Creator had these hair tools. That's very cool. I was very inspired by this and had a go at making Fibremesh hair in ZBrush earlier, and that was neat as well. I've never tried that. That was actually much less difficult than it appeared. Oh, they just painted on. Okay, cool. Because in Character Creator you had these real props, so that's neat. And it's fairly easy to just smart prop these things. They don't have to be perfect. So I've seen some creators who throw in like Fibremesh eyebrows and Fibremesh mustaches and stuff to their characters, and that's a way to do that. They don't really have to be rigged. I think smart propping them is just fine. Because even though we do move this area, there's probably a bit of leeway where this intersects, and so smart propping is probably the easiest way to do that. Fantastic, Brian. I'm looking forward to that. Oh, Rod, wouldn't that be cool? The creator and the TNA ladies as they meet the man behind the scenes. That would be very cool. 60%, come on, we're nearly there, we're nearly there. In fact, while this is rolling, I'm going to go and prepare the next section of what I'm going to do after this, and that has to do with the Cinti Kids characters. In fact, let me just show you what I've made off the stream here yesterday until about 1 a.m. in the morning, because I was excited. I brought in the faceplate that comes with the Cinti Kids and adjusted it so that the grown-ups from the shops and the office characters can wear it, and they now have expressions. I haven't actually shown you this, but that is something that works now, and it works even better on the kids because they had painted the kids so that they don't have drawn on mouths and all that. But the grown-ups, they have essentially their own mouth. Let's see. I'll go and start with an office person here, maybe her. That's one of the ladies we've made yesterday. And she's got this fairly strong lipstick here, but what I can do now, and this is something that I've set up there yesterday. So it's on the Cinti expressions. There's a faceplate for the female and for the male. And when you add that, it essentially goes and parents itself smartly, or it should at least, to the face. Of course, now demonstration effect says that isn't working. That's a shame, isn't it? There's me thinking I could just quickly show you this. Head. Oh, there it goes. So we've got the faceplate here. That's now auto-parented to the head. And now with that selected, I can go and pick an expression. So something like this one here. Or so I thought. Is that not the case? I guess not. Material goes on here. Isn't that what happens? It worked yesterday. Bloody beta products, eh? No, there we go. It's expressions, isn't it? So it's definitely here. Or maybe it's intersecting with her face. Maybe it's not. Oh, there we go. Right, it was just in there a little bit too much. I thought I had worked this out. So this is what it looks like on the grown-ups. That's very neat. I think I haven't tested it with this particular shop character. I had other characters here yesterday that I did that with. But then, so yeah, so you can go and have her speak. She might also be, you know, missing a tooth and all that. Oh, come on. Add freckles is something that you can do for the kids. And she can have a smile. And she can do all these exciting things. So it's almost like they have expressions, but it doesn't work well with her. It's because I've used the shop's characters to do this. Okay, let me go and do this again. But we're getting there, we're getting there. So shops people, the face masks are actually made for the kids, really. So we'll give her some hair. It looks like there are differences then. So shops expressions, female faceplate. Clonk goes on there. Perfect. Now she has an expression. That's exciting. So we go and take that faceplate, and then we can make her cry, and then she can have a missing tooth. No, that's the freckles again. Oh man. And freckles is an LIE preset, which is why it takes a little bit longer to load. Bad for demo, but she has freckles now added on top of everything. So then, you know, she can smile without a missing tooth, I think. And then there's also the seam, so she can now literally go and talk. And this is where it's not quite well done because she has a drawn on mouth, and this would be the mouth that would work with the kids. So, but hey, that works. Right, exactly, that's right. And the cool thing also, Steve, is that these guys are now posable. So these are now Genesis 8 compatible, and that's kind of nice. So I can go and grab any of my poses here. if they are in fact something something compatible with Genesis 3. So there's no compatibility base or anything. I haven't set that up, but you know, she can stand there like this, or she can go and, you know, hold something like this. It kind of works. And all I need it for is things like this, you know, regular walking poses, and she can be happy and be a nice background character. Even the fingers work, which is really nice. If they're a little bit too bent, then I can go and control those things with power pose, I believe. I always have to remember which hand this is. I think it's this one here. And we have sometimes issues with the little finger. So I can go and just uncurl that. Uncurl them all. Because they're just not meant to be curled quite that way. So all of this works now, and I find that's really, really exciting. Very cool. Then I also have material presets. Let me show you that. That's also neat. With her selected, I can go and shop materials. I think they can. Are they shaders? Oh, they're shaders now. Okay. I need to. This is something I want to change so that we don't have to change tools to apply different materials. Haha. Different outfits, different skin tones. This is just so cool. Different eyebrows and all that. Hey Joe, how's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, you got the Christmas card. That is cool. That is good to know. How's Blender doing? It's still at 0% of the baking process. Second pass, you think? Or is it done? That could also be. I'm eager to try this again with a much smaller texture size. Yes, Steve, where are you right now? Are you in a hotel still? Oh, we haven't got that here, hey? This is currently still black, so that means it's not quite there yet. It's back to 0%, back to 1%. This is crazy. I'm gonna go and stop this. Let's go stop this. Yeah, I'm not having much luck with baking. I gotta be brutally honest. But let's see if we can work it out. Texture Atlas worked well in DAZ Studio, but that only works with DAZ characters, of course. That doesn't look so good. So let me go back to the previous save here. And not the modified textures, that's all good. So under UV editing with my character selected. And then I suppose also in edit mode, there we have all of these guys. I don't remember if I have set up my second UV map. No, I haven't. Okay, I'm gonna go do that, and I'll just call it combined for now. And I'll go and select all of these guys here and say UV pack islands. And then I kind of forgot to say average island size. And I'll just make the face a little bit bigger because we probably want more resolution on there. And then we select everything and say UV pack islands. There. So let's say that's our combined map now. I'll go and create a new image which will hold a texture. And I'll call it diffuse combined. I'll not use alpha, and I'm just going to use a 1K map just so that the baking process hopefully is a bit faster then. That's my plan. So then in the, we can probably stay in here. It doesn't really matter, does it? In the render settings then, at the bottom under bake, or GPUs, yes, that's good. So we don't want the direct lighting, I don't think. And we want these things to contribute, I think. We don't want this. We want the output to be the image textures. That's correct. The bake type, however, should be the diffuse. And I think that's it. And then we go bake. And it goes to work. It has a little error message, but hopefully it's going to be a little bit faster now. Let's see. I don't exactly know why it's now showing the tongue here, because didn't I just create an image here up there? Should I have selected that somewhere? I don't really know. I'm totally confused. Oh, you're living with your son. Okay, that's cool. That's nice. Crashing on his couch. That's nice. I like it. How's he doing? How's he holding up? Did you guys spend Christmas together? I'm thinking you did. Oh, rain tomorrow and snow on Saturday. Oh, that's what Christmas is all about, isn't it? At least in some parts of the world. I don't know if this is any quicker or not. We can't even just let Blender doodle, because this is Blender 3.0 and we can try out Brian's trick in Blender 2.93. I don't know if the file is going to be backward compatible or if we're going to have to reset up the character, but I'll try my best. We'll see what happens. So SimpleBake is something that Brian discovered that is essentially made for this job, but I couldn't make head or tails of it. For me, it didn't work at all. Even though I did watch all the videos, it just wasn't doing anything that I could understand. The buttons that I did press, it didn't really work. So let's try that. Oh, there we go. That works. That's a Blender 3 file in Blender 2.91. Okay, that's really good. I like that. Cycles, GPU, compute. What you look like. Christmas together. Oh, that's nice. That is very nice. Compiling shaders, that's also a good sign. Good to see you all again. This is nice. In Britain, we call this period between Christmas and New Year, we call that crim between. And it's kind of a very nice way of describing that. Let me just go and see if I have that add-on enabled here. It's called SimpleBake. Yes, it's enabled. Do I also have Node Wrangler enabled? Just checking. I do have Node Wrangler enabled. Okay. Roberta says hi as well. That's nice. Okay then, so while Blender 3 calculates this without SimpleBake, let's see if we can make this work with SimpleBake. So SimpleBake's dialog is also down here. It's underneath the bake dialog in the settings. But I think we need to set up the UV map first, right? In fact, let me stay on this. UV maps. I'll go and make another one, and I'll call this one SimpleBake. Righty? Is that correct, Brian? SimpleBake? That's it, right? Second UV map. Then do I combine? Excellent. Do I combine the UVs manually like I did before under UV editing? Is this what I do? Because this is kind of what I would probably do now. I'd head into UV editing and then with that new UV space selected. Just checking that it is. Yes, it is. I'll go and select all of these guys and then go and remix this here, right? Like before, but don't make him a new texture. Gotcha. Okay, thank you. I like it. So I think we can go average island size first. And then we can go, this is the head. So I want to have that a bit larger. And then I'll tell him to go and pack islands. Perfect. And maybe that didn't work out great. Maybe I'll go and make that a bit smaller again. This is where that pack master might actually come in handy. Well, actually, it doesn't do anything about averaging island sizes. What's going down here? That didn't work out so well. I think that point wasn't selected. Let me go back before that happened. Yeah, that's already got issues here. Right, this is that was a problem. Pack there. Packed. Okay, goody. So that's done, and I'm not going to create a new texture. I suppose now I'll just go directly into the SimpleBake dialog, right? Is that correct? Could do that like right here, down here in the SimpleBake. But I didn't really understand. See if I can remember. PBR Bake is good. We like that. Settings. I think we don't do anything in settings. Bake objects. I'm not sure what we do here. Go into layout view. Gotcha. Okay. Layout view. Here we are. This is nice. I appreciate your time talking me through this, Brian, because it just didn't make sense to me after watching the two videos by the guy who didn't actually make the plugin. Interestingly, the guy who made the plugin said, I can't really explain how my plugin works, but this guy on YouTube, he does a very good job at it. And I was thinking, okay, that's not selling it. And so then at the bottom here, I suppose, under render settings, I think it was, we have all these things. SimpleBake, Miss Moneypenny. Anything on the PBR bake? Diffuse, we'll start with that. That's cool. I don't know if we can bake multiple in a process. That's also possible, I think. And add it to the list of bake stuff. So bake objects, right? I'll go and add this character that was selected. Gotcha. That's neat. Bake selected objects to target object. Bake maps from one or more source objects, usually high poly, to a single target object, usually low poly. Source and target objects must be in the same location overlapping. See Blender documentation. Right, I've read about this. There's a way that you can make a copy of an object and have them both in exactly the same spot, and then you can either link the maps or just go and copy them over somehow. Don't select it. It just added itself in here. Is that not what I do? It had happened to be selected already. Shall I go and undo that? I can go remove it and go select nothing, but then the add button doesn't open. So I think this is the only way I need to do it then, like that. I'm thinking. I'm okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Does this need to be selected here? Bake selected objects to target? Probably not, because we don't have a source and target object. Right, okay. Gotcha. Right. PBR bakes diffuse. We'll just use one map for now, I'm thinking. Then we have special bakes. I don't think we do anything there. Color, AO, color ID. It's good to know that it does that, but I don't think we need that here. Then we have texture settings. And I suppose I can make it like a... It didn't seem to matter that much. Maybe we'll just make it a 4K map for now. Just see what it looks like. Bake at, output at. All internal 32-bit, use alpha, multiple objects to one texture set. I don't think you do this either, right? I think the guy was explaining that in the video. We're not doing this, nor are we using alpha, I think. Good so far, all right. Then we have export settings, export bakes and export mesh. I don't think we do that either, but it could export this whole thing as an FBX if we wanted, but we don't want to do that. It's kind of a one-click idea. UV settings, right. New UV maps. Prefer existing UV maps called SimpleBake. Gotcha, that's what we want. And restore originally active UV map at the end. Yes, maybe. Then we don't see the switch of maps not fitting on the character and us not having to switch it manually. Probably. I don't think I've done that before, so that could very, very well be cool. both exports, okay. We want to do both exports, export bakes and export mesh. Okay, I'll do that. Mr. Chris! Okay, great, thanks Brian. I'll export the bakes and the mesh in a folder name called SimpleBake. Alrighty, UV settings good. Other settings, copy objects and apply bakes, preserve object original materials beta, device GPU compute is probably good. Anything we need to do here, or shall we just go and leave that? Because then the other thing that we have here is channel packing. I don't remember that being shown in the video. That may be it. Maybe the bake button is the thing. Select the copy objects. I wonder where that was. Was it under UV settings? No, was it under this one? Preserve object original materials. Copy objects, this one here, and apply bakes. Okay. Hide source object after bake. Oh, okay. So that suggests that the program actually makes a copy of this. And then that should be it. Channel packing, foreground, background. Foreground's good with me. Shall we go and do this? Let's click bake, see what happens. Ah! Errors, of course, occurred. You are trying to save external images, but object with name blah contains invalid characters for saving externally. That's a shame, isn't it? That is a shame. Maybe we shouldn't worry about exporting things. I mean, as long as it sets it up, I can save it out later. That's all good with me. Because renaming maps now that are already used, I'm thinking it doesn't like the plus. Okay. Well, let me just try with export setting here. I'm going to go not export bake or maps or mesh, right? Export bakes and mesh. Let's see what happens if I go bake. It seems to kind of like that. It's doing something. Progress bar. Not strong in Blender. Oh, but it says bake complete, so that is kind of good. That's neat. Let's see if I can go back into UV editing and pick this then here. That is what it did, right? And it had problem with the plus sign. So I can go and save this out now. This looks fairly decent here. I like it. Let me try that. Image, save as, and I'll go and make that, I'll call it SimpleBake maps, perhaps, and I might just call that SB diffuse without a space, because space is never good. PNGs, I'm good with that. All right, so that is not bad, Brian. So then, of course, now that I didn't export my objects automatically, I'm gonna have to go and do this now. I could just use this, and in fact, I might just do that. I'm gonna go and export that because it has this other UV set on there, right? It has the SimpleBake UVs, and that is probably what I need in order to then select that and wrap. So let me go and try that. I'll call this one SB Bake as well. I'll call this actually CC3 SB Bake. I want the selection only. And the scale, I'm thinking probably going to be 100% larger because I shrunk her down. Let's go do this. And just have a quick nosy in the wrap and just see if this is actually showing up with textures. No worries. Thank you so much for dropping by, Steve. Chris, just so you know, I have bought you a coffee earlier. You, Steve, Brian, and Rod, because we're all sitting here together and we're thinking, hey, we should have coffee together. So if you find a coffee in your library, that is from me. Enjoy. It's like basically having you here with us, having coffee. It's kind of cool. Load geometry. And I'm just going to load this and an image, I think. Load image. There we go. that goes into here. The image is then, of course, what we've just exported from the baking. I'm so glad I've recorded this because, you know, now I remember. SB diffuse, check. That's that. Geometry. That'll be CC3 SB bake. And oh, there she is. And do you have maps? Do you? And they don't look awkward. No, they look great. Look at it. Oh, Brian, thank you so much for explaining that to me. That's really cool. And now I can kind of plow my way through making this work with all the other maps, including the eyes and all that. It's a little bit tricky to set up. If I had selected the other maps in the baking process, would it also have done that in one fair swoop, do you think? Like all of these things? Because that, I think that would make this thing a seriously handy add-on to have. Chris, we're talking about SimpleBake. So under here, like, is it bake objects? No, that wasn't it. It was PBR bakes. If I were to select, we can actually just try it out and see what happens. So, in fact, let me go through the whole thing again, just so that I remember. If I go and select this and that, I can even select OpenGL or DirectX. That is very nice, depending on what I need. If I select these three and then go bake, would it go and do the bake on 3 maps? Oh, you know it. Oh, look at that. I hadn't known it. So very, very chuffed about this. Ah, cool. Let me go through this whole part again of setting up SimpleBake and the maps, just so that I remember what it's like. Recent. There we go. Test 3 on stream. So this is basically the starting project in which all I have is the character that needs to be unified. And Blender takes a second to do things. It tells me that the file has been written in a newer version of Blender, and it is correct, but I think it can just about work it out. So this character here has applied maps under the shading tab on most of the outer surfaces with Node Wrangler. So we have the diffuse, we have the normal, and we also have a roughness. So that's all applied on the character, and she's kind of looking good. But now, of course, comes the part in which we have to say, hey, we want all of these parts, all of these UV islands, not on separate UV spaces. We want them all on one UV map, essentially. So for that, we need to go be a little bit creative. So the first thing I'll go and do under here, under the UV maps, is I'll set up a new map and I'll call it SimpleBake. And that's important, I guess, for the add-on to work properly. Is that correct, Brian? I think I've kind of understood this correctly. But, you know, repetition is how we learn. So I think, you know, that's important. So new UV map, call it SimpleBake. And then we go and bring all these maps together. So A, and then we go, let's just average the island sizes here. And then we go and say pack islands. And let's say we're okay with that. Or make changes. Perhaps to the face. Face compared to the body isn't all that big. So I'm going to go and hover over that and hit L to select that island, go S and just stretch it out, make it a little bit larger. And then I'll go A twice, and then I'll go and pack the islands again. Chris, I've also invested into UV Packmaster 2 today, but that didn't bring a great improvement on this because the islands are large. So we're good here, we're good here. That's cool. Doesn't matter where I go, I can stay in here, I think, and head over down to the SimpleBake tab. And we want PBR bake, we don't want cycles bake, but I think we want this to be this up here. We want this to say cycles and GPU compute to make it a little bit faster, I think. Then we go and we don't do anything under settings, but bake objects, I think. Oh yeah, we're still in edit mode, that's the problem, isn't it? So in object mode, we go and add the character we want to bake. That's neat. Then under PBR bakes, I want to bake the diffuse. I also want to try to bake the roughness, and it is rough rather than glossy. And I'm also going to go bake the normal. I don't think we have metal here, And everything else is all right. We don't have a mission. That's all good. Special bakes. I think we do nothing. Texture settings. This is my texture size, so I'm going to go and increase that maybe to 4K for today. Then we go and say export settings. We don't click these things because our file name isn't supported here, so that's fine. Otherwise it would create that an exportable mesh as well as exportable maps. We do that manually. We ignore that. UV settings. I'm going to go and prefer the existing UV maps called SimpleBake. This is the one that we've made earlier, so that should work. Restore originally active UV map. We can do that. Other settings. What do we do here? We do nothing, I think. I think we do nothing. I think that's how it worked. And then channel, we also do nothing. We're good. We're good. We're not doing anything there. We're just going to say bake and hope for the best. Let's see what happens. It appears that nothing's happening, but in fact, I'll do get that little spinning cursor in a minute, which means the thing is working hard. I think background, maybe executing this on a background thread, perhaps. I'm not entirely sure. But let's look at this close-up of a tongue texture while we wait for the thing to finish, because that's groovy. No wonder your brain was mush earlier, Brian. And no wonder you nearly skipped lunch. Make sure you catch up on dinner at some point. There we go, that's that. And it looks like it's finished, so that's cool. So all we need to do now is export our maps manually because my file name was kind of balked and the plugin didn't like that. The plus sign wasn't good. So I'll go up here and pick the 3 images that I need to export, namely this one here, the diffuse, the normal, and the roughness. And that's cool. I can just select one of them. That's that. And then I'll go and say image over here and save as. And it's actually the same thing that I've had before, so I'll just go call it SP diffuse. So I'll just overwrite that. Now I go and select the next one, which is the normal. So once again, image, save as. I'll call it, what did I say? SB normal. Yes, yes, yes. And roughness, same thing. Save as SB rough. In PNG, in RGB, no alpha. That is all good. So then the final step is, of course, that my character hasn't been made into a copy at the moment. That's interesting. Like it did last time, so that's cool. I'm going to select the SimpleBake UVs here, which now looks mangled, but that's okay. So I just need to select my second UV space here, the one that is essentially the combined UVs, because I also need to export my character as an OBJ, and that needs to have the same UV space. So I'll go and copy that out, and I'll call this, I'll override the same character as I had before, CC3 SBBake, selection only. And the size, I'm going to make that 100 times, whoops, not 140, 100 times larger because Blender's scaling issues. And then, with a bit of luck, I should be able to just reload the geometry and the image in wrap. That looks mangled because we have different UVs. Here we go, reload, and there we go. She's good. Perfect. And that should now also work, I'm hoping, with the roughness and the normal. There's rough. Normal hasn't baked. What's happened? Certainly rough. All around. Why has my normal map not baked? I wonder then. It hasn't. It's not actually not about having not been baked. It's not been exported from the Blender. That was probably my mistake. Pick that. Image, save as. Oh, it's an EXR map. Oh, that's why. Okay, okay. I could have probably looked at that a little bit closer and save it as a PNG instead. That's why it didn't show up. So it came out as an EXR. That's quite clever of Blender that it can do that. Woohoo! See if this works. The stuff you need to know. There she is, normal maps and all. Oh, goody! Hey, thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate that. I think I can find my way around this now. And then transfer these textures over to Genesis Texture. Woohoo! Awesome! That's an option that I didn't select, was it? Let me just quickly check where that option was. I do remember that there was one. Prefer existing... Copy objects and apply bakes. That is what I didn't select. So selecting this means it will make a secondary character with the second UV set, and it'll leave my original character in place and hide it. Gotcha. Whew. My god, time for a break, everyone. Oh, nice! I'm glad you're doing that, Rod, because there's just so many cool things in the Liquify filter. Spelled with an I, by the way, rather than an E. Just read whatever it says in Photoshop. It's Liquify rather than Liquify. Good, I'm really looking forward to that. Because there's so much in that filter that is seriously cool. I think I think I'm gonna go and save this just so that I can refer back to it. There. Oh, also what I should have done, to retain the maps, I'll say external data, automatically pack into blend file, and then I'll go and save it again. So that means the blend file is going to be a little bit larger, but it also retains all the images that I've made. Meanwhile, yeah, so it looks like SimpleBake is actually the way to go. Thanks for finding that, Brian. That's great. Very, very cool. You never won any prizes for spelling. Ah, okay, no worries. Okay. Okay, interesting. See what we can do. So I'd like to also try, so ZBrush is similar to this. So now that I have in fact, maybe I'll try this now. That's another little exercise. Maybe that fits right into this whole mapping and texturing thing. Let's just see if we can go and import these maps into ZBrush and then turn them into polypaint information, so that then you could go and maybe smear those things out, just in case we have to do that. So that's a little bit tricky as well, and it's a process that I don't really do often enough, / never, so it's be kind of good to do this together with you, with a bit of hand holding. Let's go and import our character first. And that is this one here, with unified UVs. I already forgot. Is it this one here? Yes, that was from yesterday, so it's got to be this one here. Perfect. Import. Left click and drag her out. There she is. Immediately hit T to go into edit mode. Frame her up if we want. And give her not a red matte cap, but give her like skin shade 4 so we can see her a little bit better. So in order for so I can go and load the textures in already, but she's still a low poly object, so I need to increase her resolution if I wanted to transfer the textures over as polypaint information. That would mean that I can then get rid of the textures and then have all the information on the outside of the 3D mesh, something that they call pixels. It's essentially vertex paint, and it's kind of neat to have that, because it means you can then go and draw on the 3D object directly as much as you want, a little bit like in Substance Painter. And when it comes to turning that polypaint information back into textures, the more resolution you have on the character, the higher the resolution maps are that you can bake from that. So I think there's a secret little combination. Was it Shift D? I think it is. Was it Control D? Control D, there we go. So this is the point information that goes up. So she started with kind of 16, which is much lower than, yeah, no, I said 16, now it's 71, and that's 250, that's 3, 4, 5 times. So 5 million is probably a good start, but more is even better. But I think that might mean the computer might start struggling. And now she looks much smoother. And we do that just purely for the benefit of that texture information. Now, textures, I believe under the texture map setting here. Is that how we load that in? No, it's not, is it? It's under... Oh, I think it might be. If I select that and then I go and say import, I think that's how it works. Import, and then I go and grab my diffuse map. That's that. That looks terrible, but that's only because ZBrush kind of flips the textures. That's the mouth on top of the head and stuff. That's all. It's all a bit crazy. So it just flips the texture around. So we just need to go and reflip it. And I think that happens under UV map. Adjust. Is it flip V? Yes, there we go. Flip V it was. So then everything is the correct way around. Why it does that, I don't exactly know, but it just does. So, you know, it's just how it works in ZBrush. So that's the texture being shown on the outside of the object. Now, if we wanted to go and transfer that into polypaint information, I think we say this here, polypaint from texture under the polypaint menu. And I think that'll go, let me go actually zoom in a bit. We should see a small difference, hopefully not too much. Polypaint from texture, go clonk. RGB draw mode is off, please adjust it and go do that. Yeah, let's go and make that on then, I guess. Polypaint from texture, and it may have worked, I'm not sure. It's because ZBrush, yes. It's because ZBrush. So now we're still seeing the texture, we're not seeing the polypaint information. So I have to go back to texture map, and then I have to say texture on. I have to click that so that it means texture off. And I think, or is that incorrect? I don't remember. We should see a small difference. I think this is showing the texture and this is not showing the texture, I think. So we can do the same thing here with the normal map and a displacement map. Let me go load the normal map and see if that works. So I'll go and say, there's no import button anymore. What a shame. Why is there no import button for the normal map? Dude, that's kind of not on. Create a normal map. Do I have to go and import this on here somehow? Or on texture up here? Maybe that's how I need to do it. Import, and then just go grab that. And it's kind of important. Can I then go and select it from here? Yes, I can. Because ZBrush. We do this. Do we see anything? Because I don't. This is something I never really do. So I would imagine we can just go and apply the normal map just like we applied the texture. But that might actually be a little bit more difficult. Create normal map, tangent, clone NM. It does what now? So something's supposed to be possible with normal maps, but I don't know what. Oh, Brian, could that be this flipping thing? Could that be? Could that have something to do with the OpenGL versus DirectX, or is that something different? I think that's the green channel in the normal maps. I don't know. Just thinking out loud, you know. My head hurts as well. I don't actually know how to proceed with the normal map. I had expected it to just go on the character as well, but never having tried it out, it kind of makes sense that, you know, it doesn't work that way. Huh. Let's see. I mean, just out of curiosity, if I go and grab a color, can I go and paint on you? Yes, I can do that. I think I don't want to do I think I would just want to paint. Can I? No, see, I'm still doing something else. I think I want to go not do Z add and then just go paint. Perfect. So I can do that. That's awesome. But I'm not painting on the texture now, I don't think. Let's go back to the regular texture, just so for my own understanding. It not polypaint, but under texture map. This is the texture, right? This is good to know. So texture on means I'm seeing the texture now, but if that button isn't orange, then I see my polypaint information, which could then be like a modified version of stuff that I can go and, you know, basically make the maps better this way in some shape or form, including painting with alphas to add additional surface detail. So that is how I suggest we do that in case we need something that isn't coming across in the map, so we might just have to redo that or smooth things out. So this is not just possible with paint, but also with color, but also with alpha information. I think if I go and pick an alpha here, and if I go and just say Z add and not that, I think I can go without the dots. If I go drag rect, I think I can do this. Yeah, there we go. And this is stuff that can now be essentially baked out as normal information in, you know, a much more subtle way than drawing stars all over her body. Even though that looks interesting, it's probably not what we want to. Probably not what she should look like, or does it? I don't know. The asymmetric face is very popular these days, so brilliant. Very good point. Yes, is any of this actually normal, Rod? Probably not. Yeah, Alien HD. Yeah, so it is quite fun, I must say. ZBrush is actually really fun to play with. I'm not exactly productive with it as such, but it's very interesting to play around with these things. And then, I mean, other more meaningful alphas would be things like, you know, the things from texturing XYZ. And then if you don't do draw rect, you can do the dots here, and then you can do that. So before you know it, you've got like scaly alien and stuff. Exciting, isn't it? And then all that in HD detail. It's kind of good. Import it as a morph into DAZ Studio before you know it. You've got the new George Lucas monster made. Okay, in case we go a little bit too strong here, you can always go press Shift, I think, and then smooth this out. Or press Ctrl Z like a lot. Sorry, Rod, I didn't mean to give you bad dreams. Wait until we put hair on it. This is something also that I've learned today. Maybe we should try that. Put hair on alien lady. This is great. Yeah, let's do that. That's neat. We're having some fun. So I think in regards to hair, I think I have to go and hold Control, and then I can go and mask a portion of this off. And then if I go and Control drag outside, that mask goes away. And that's a bit too much, isn't it? Let's go and make this smaller. So I'll go and mask this piece off here. And for some reason, this is where potentially hair can grow out with this thing called Fibremesh in ZBrush. And Fibremesh, it has a new menu here somewhere. The Fibremesh here, there it is. And we can go and open the light box and pick fibers up, like these ones here, Fibers 160. I watched this tutorial earlier by Victory 3D, and they were making Albert Einstein That's kind of cool. So you select that, and I think that's that. Select it, double click it, maybe double click it, perfect, and then that happens. Yes, and that's, you know, that's a lot of hair. And it is a little bit poor Ruperta. And it is a little bit it's a little long perhaps right now. But also, I mean, maybe it's just the haircut we're looking for. So under Fibremesh modifiers, we can adjust 40 million settings, and one of them is the gravity that drags the hair down. One of them is also the segments, that's how many elements each hair has, and then also the amount of fiber. So maybe I'll make that a bit less, and then that's, you know, much better already. Perhaps the length also could be a little shorter. We're getting there, much more manageable. And then apparently if you want to comb it kind of to the back, you go and do something equally interesting. So you go and turn the gravity off. The gravity is currently 0.7. And if I go and turn that off to kind of to 0, then this happens, which is also interesting. But now you can go and brush it. Let me go and make the base and the tip a slightly different color. I'll just make it a bit lighter, basically. Not so much purple, and then the tip can be white, just so that it separates from the background a little bit better. This is great because, you know, the fun's just beginning. So now, apparently, let me go get rid of the alpha here. I can use grooming brushes to tame this wild thing. So I'm going to go and straighten it up to the top and kind of try and comb it to the back. Let me see. So G for grooming brushes, and this is the groom hair toss brush. See if that works. Make it a bit bigger. Oh, what happened? Is it thinking about it? I've destroyed it! My hair! Oh no! Poor hair! We were onto something amazing! I don't exactly know what happened now. Maybe I wasn't actually on the subtool, because the fiber meshed things are actually a subtool in subtool, and they're gone now. Oh, that's not good. Let's go bring that back. Come on, come back. It's not coming back. I think it's destroyed. We need to make more hair. Okay, new hair then. Fine. See if I care. Double click. Yeah, there we go. We're back with hair. Oh, I didn't apply it. I think that was it. I think I have to do that. And then it becomes its own separate object. Okay, no worries. We can do that. So less fibers is more. And then gravity 0. Check. Excellent. Then also length. Oh, and then the color, of course. So base. I totally understand if you want to go somewhere else and watch something completely different. I totally agree. That is... This is not for the faint-hearted. Oh, was that how much they're selling it for? $40 a month. Oh! Oh, wow. $800, that hasn't changed. That's what I paid back in the day. So that's interesting that that's still the same price. Length, let's go make that less long. Like maybe that's almost there. I mean, imagining it'll also be tossed over. I might just make that a bit slightly longer, like that, maybe. That should be good. That should be good. And then we go hit accept, I think. I think that's the gist of it. And then we say yes. What happened? Oh man! Where's my lady? Oh, my lady's still here. Okay, fine, perfect. Okay, good. Let's try the... Am I still with the groom hair toss brush? Yeah, perfect. And I'm looking at it... I'm looking at it from the side. Let me... Oops. the side, I say. Let me go and start tossing that back now. It's like, whoops. It's like brushing on. Oh, come on. Dude! Terrible. If you click on the outside, it actually does viewport manipulation. You have to kind of click on some of the geometry for this to work. And if you don't, obviously you're in massive trouble. How do I bring my other girly back here? I don't want to be in solo mode. I want to see it all. There we go. I want to see it in context, you know? Or maybe I'll unmask things. Whoops. I can do that to the character? I totally didn't mean to do that. Sorry, character. I'm new to this. I don't really know why my character disappears when I'm looking at this. That's probably some kind of mode that I'm in that I shouldn't be in. But hey, I mean, what do I know about ZBrush? There was that little eye icon here. Okay, let me go and see if I can do this without hurting anyone else. Aha. Okay, I mean, not bad, right, for a first attempt. And I think anything that goes inside the head, I can go and bring that out by BMV. That's kind of the move brush, so we can go and take that out again, and then, you know. I don't even know why I'm doing this. I don't even know why I was looking into it. Oh yeah, actually, I remember now. For hair, exactly, Brian, now I remember. I did it just in case we need to make hair for eyebrows and stuff. I remember now. That's why I even looked into this. Because then the other exciting brushes that there are, so moving is just, that's one thing, but you can also put, like, add turbulence in this, and then add, you know, more brushes and more volume into this. Let me see, that's what BG, and there's clumps and color, hair long. So if it's not quite long enough, I think we can make it longer. Maybe that's what the aliens on this planet wear. I don't know, maybe it's a fashion statement. The only issue with this is that it doesn't, it exports as an OBJ, but it also, it's very high resolution still. Let me see if I can show you that turbulence brush. That is quite cool. I did like that. So I'm always thinking in the hands of a skilled artist. It's Trump. You know, this might well be my last stream on Twitch. Absolutely. First the naked lady, and now this. This may well go wrong. Turbulence here, this is it. So there's spin knot. I think there's also hair toss, hair ball, groom color tip, twister. Oh yeah, twister was nice. Let me go and make that a bit smaller, and also the intensity a little bit less here. And so this twists the hair. I thought that was quite neat. If only this constant moving the character wouldn't happen. I mean, that is something I find seriously annoying. That I'm thinking I want to just click on the thing, and then what happens is the creature moves, and you're thinking, but that's not what I want, clearly. So there's that, and then there's also the makes the little twists in here. But then there's also the turbulence brush. So BG, lengthen, hairball, hair toss. That's the one to kind of toss the hair around. Where's turbulence? There it is. So turbulence is groovy, and Z intensity needs to be like a bit lower for this to be groovy. That just gets these random things in hair. So if it looks too straight, which not that mine does that, but yeah, this kind of interesting. Adds this little turbulenceness into the mix. And then the other thing that she was doing is if you have you do it in man, this is annoying. This whole viewport is ZBrush is just annoying. I think is pretty much what I'm saying. ZBrush is just super annoying. Whoever designed this interface, it ain't worth 800 bucks. Sorry, it just isn't. Yeah, so if you're missing hairs here and stuff, you just pat another little hair patch in here. So you go and make another, make another mask on the character, and then grow more hair in either the same or different style. Well, there we go. Perfect. Made this exciting, beautiful character. And I think we go PBR, and then it kind of renders it or something. Do you know, wouldn't that be cool to do this as a watch party? The Blender 3.0 donut tutorial. We do it all as a watch party, and then we all start working on the donut. And then we share the results with one another. That'd be really good. And Rod, seriously, that gets you into Blender, and it just introduces you to the workflow. And then, of course, like with anything, you just keep doing this over and over, and then, you know, eventually it'll just sink in. We should do that. Let me give it some thought. I think I might call it a day here. I don't think I'm going to go over the Cinti kits. I think we've done enough map baking today. And, you know, we've done this beautiful creature here. I don't even know how to save things in ZBrush. I might not even take a screenshot, not even that. But now we know how to make it. Hey guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I think I'll be back tomorrow with something else. Maybe even the Blender 3.0 donut tutorial. That'd be kind of cool. Have a wonderful evening. My mind is baked too. I don't think I can think anymore. I'm gonna just have another couch session now. Have a wonderful evening, guys, and I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.